So we definitely fell on our feet with this park up. It was on Park for Night, surrounded by nature. We come down this little dirt track for about 1.5 kilometres off the main road, and then it's opened out into, look, hard standing there, vans on, beautiful position there. And then if you look further down, huge great big fishing lake, and there is a signpost on the main road to say that it's a fishing lake. There's a little children's play area there. Pan round a little bit further, another hard standing there. You could park down the bottom of the road by the lake there. You'd be on the grass, but I guess that would be okay if it was a small van. There's actually a composting toilet here, which just goes into a big hole in the ground, so there's toilet facilities. Yeah, let me take a wander down to the lake and I'll show you the surroundings a bit more. And we're the only ones here. How cool is that? What a find. All I can hear is birds chirping in the trees. What a stunning location. Let's have a quick run down to the lake. It looks like there's a gravel path all the way around the lake. Pretty much you can walk all the way around. There's woods surrounding here. I guess it would be really popular, you know, during the holiday periods, but now we're off season, kids are back at school. It's really peaceful here, really quiet. What an amazing place to be. I mean, if you had a couple of supboards or a canoe, you'd be laughing, wouldn't you? Look at this. Look at that. There's a little jetty there and what looks like a weir over there. There is another road access at the back there. I can just see another tarmac road there. And then this is the start of the gravel path going around the lake. Oh, lovely surroundings, beautiful. Oh, this is going to make an absolute perfect park up. It does say no swimming on that sign there. Maybe to do with the condition of the water, perhaps. It is designated as a fishing lake, so there's picnic tables and chairs in amongst the trees here. Yeah, what a fabulous place. And there we are, parked up there with the sliding door facing the lake. There's Lou. Get the kettle on, love. We're staying. Yeah, fantastic. So, new addition to this little park up, because you can't see this on Google Maps, is this parkour course, sort of an assault course. 650 metres distance, and it starts here. You can see a couple of the obstacles just there in the distance. So obviously you've got to do certain exercises at each of these stations on the way around. Obviously at each of these stations you've got different exercises that you need to perform. There's different obstacles down there as you come around the course. There's little notices at each station telling you what to do. And down the bottom there I can see there's a little bit overgrown, but there's a petanque course there, you know, the old balls, French balls. There's one of them there as well, so quite a few little things you can be doing here. I guess if you've got, you know, mountain bikes and stuff like that, you can trek off into the woods and whatever. They've planted a load of wild flowers here, obviously to attract the insects and that. That looks really pretty, that, look. All them lovely colours. Oh, that's beautiful, isn't it? Look at that. Just to attract all the bees and insects. Another one of the obstacles. What a fantastic setup. And as I said before, this is just, I found this just by looking on the surrounded by nature on Park for Night. You know, the little tree symbol that you get on Park for Night. Yeah, look at that. How beautiful is that? And on tonight's menu we've got pan-fried breast of chicken in a little few spices, paprika, that sort of thing. We've got Sweden carrot mash, my favourite, Savoy cabbage, green beans and some new potatoes and a lovely thick gravy. And what better than to sit and admire this gorgeous view. Oh, fantastic. Let's get stuck in. Good morning, guys. What an absolutely fantastic morning. There's hardly a breath of wind in the air and all you can hear are the birds chirping. Yes, what a fantastic place this has been for an overnight stop. Absolutely beautiful surroundings, really peaceful, quiet. We've been the only people here. There's been a couple of walkers last night tea time, but after that, you know, when it was dark, there was nobody here at all. It's actually pitch black. There's no light pollution here. And we come out of the van last night and we could see millions and millions of stars. Absolutely fantastic. So yeah, this is definitely one I'm sticking on my favourites list for another time. Yeah, it'd be nice to spend a few days here. But we've got to keep venturing on. We're going to meet up with some friends, fellow van lifers today. We'll let you know who they are as soon as we get to them. We're only about half an hour from where they are. They're coming back up to England, so we're going to catch them on the way down. So morning, guys.
Morning, Greg. Morning.
We've been joined again by Keith and Lisa. We met you guys last time on our trip where we was in Berlin.
Berlin, yeah. It's almost a year to the day, I would imagine.
I guess so. It's about a similar sort of time we came out, wasn't it? Yeah. So, and last time you was out in Europe, it was because you were doing an event last time, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
Yeah, you had a triathlon to do, and
did, yeah.
So have you been out doing another triathlon on this trip, or?
No, this has been a proper lazy holiday.
Oh, nice. Makes a nice change in. Bit of relaxation.
Yeah.
And whereabouts have you been on this trip, you guys?
We spent about 10 days travelling down through France. Yep. So we picked a few areas that we wanted to have a look at. So we went to the Mont Saint-Michel and La Rochelle and all down that coast, and then it
looks very similar to St Michael's Mount in Cornwall, isn't it?
Yeah,
it does, castle on the island, isn't it?
Yeah, and we caught it on a fantastic day. It was red hot, not a cloud in the sky.
Oh, brilliant.
The pictures we got from it were...
And can you get across to the island then, can you?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
So we stopped in an air, which was just on the outskirts, and they have a path which takes you right to the mount, and cycle path or walking path.
And
you can chain your bikes up when you get there, so they're quite safe.
Yeah, cool.
And so yeah, it was ideal, wasn't it?
And us to give any advice, get there as early as possible.
Yeah, I imagine it's really popular, isn't it? Yeah.
It was rammed with people by the time we left.
Yeah. And you've maximised your 90 days, have you, on this trip, or
well, it won't be 90 on this particular trip, but we've used up what Schengen we've got left, bearing in mind we've got another trip to do in a few weeks' time when we get home. But pretty much we'll go back with about 1 day to spare, I think.
And then after France, you were saying that you spent quite a bit of time on North Spain, on the coast there, didn't you?
Northern Spain, yes. To be honest, Lisa, I think, thought that Portugal was the destination, but in my mind, Northern Spain was my destination.
Yeah.
because I'd seen it out the aeroplane window a few times, and it just looked so stunning.
It's quite rugged, that coast, isn't it? We've done it a few times. It's very pretty, isn't it?
Yeah, the sandy bays and coves and the little towns and fishing villages. It was absolutely fantastic.
And then ultimately you went all the way down to Portugal, did you?
We did.
We did, yeah. Yes. All the way down to the Algarve, and then along the bottom, and then up the interior, and then back on the coast. And so we've done quite a bit, but not all of it.
Yeah,
the place
we've been
massive.
around. Oh yeah, so much to see that we haven't seen for sure. But we're very, very pleased with what we have seen.
I think we've done a variety, haven't we?
We have.
Yeah.
And we got out of the van for a few days as well, because these trips tend to coincide with the anniversary. So we had 5 days on the Algarve in a hotel.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And made a nice change, but I've got to be honest, I was itching to get back in the van again. Absolutely love it.
Have the best night's sleep in the van, you know, that's what we find anyway.
So,
yeah. Any sort of standout places that you can recommend on out of the whole trip, or?
I really liked the interior, the historical village.
Yes.
Castel Vide and Marova.
Yeah.
Really stunning. Morville.
Yeah.
Really stunning sort of historical hilltop castles, which majority of them are free to go and wander around. So I really enjoyed those.
I think this is our 4th trip now, and I mean, given that we live next to the coast in the UK, I think we're definitely lakes and mountains people, because it's such a different thing for us, and we enjoy that side of it more than anything really.
What have you thought of this little park up here?
Well, apart from the weather last night.
No, of course, a bit of rain yesterday, but
yeah, I mean, yes, had a good look around this morning. Lisa's done a fitness and exercise and running this morning, and it's beautiful.
It's just so quiet, stunning, quiet.
Really peaceful night's sleep last night.
Absolutely, probably my best night's sleep in the van in the whole trip, so that's good.
Yeah, it's a perfect example of a free air, isn't it? And
it is.
Superb.
Yeah.
And they're just so lucky here in Europe. Just so lucky for all these places to be accessible to all.
Yes. Yeah, we need to jump on the. Is it CAMpRA?
CAMpRA, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I think everybody should jump on that.
Yeah, I'll put some details in the video description. Jump on that, and hopefully we can get some spots like this back in the UK then.
Absolutely, yeah. And it isn't just France that has the good airs. Northern Spain was absolutely fantastic.
Sure.
It was, very
and
good.
To be honest, we were a little bit reluctant about the wild camping aspect in Portugal because of the stories we'd heard, but we were pleasantly surprised at the facilities that the Portuguese provided.
Yeah, to be honest, we've not had any problems at all. All over Europe is well provided for, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Welcome with open arms everywhere you go.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure meeting you guys again.
Yep.
More than welcome to bump into us again at any time. You know, really enjoy your company.
And
so
don't forget, if you come up Northumberland way, got to give us a shout.
We'll do. Yeah, we most definitely will. Have a safe trip back.
Yes,
you too.
And you.
Cheers.
Thanks, Greg.
Right, let's jump in the van and get going. Okay guys, so this is where we are, the village martyr. This is Adadorsu Lane. You may have heard of this before. It's a very famous village. I don't know very much about it, but we're going to go into the visitor centre and we'll find out more. But obviously there was significant impact here during the war, and the whole village has actually been left as a memorial to what happened here. We'll find out more and hopefully be able to show you a little bit, but I think we may be restricted with taking photography and film when we're actually in the village, but we'll see what we can do for you. On the morning of June the 10th, 1944, it was reported to the German SS that one of their officers was being held prisoner by the French resistance. And on the 10th of June, the German SS battalion, commanded by Adolf Dickmann, sealed off Oradour-sur-Glane and ordered everyone within to assemble in the village square to have their identity papers examined. The women and children were locked in the church and the village was looted. The men were led to 6 different barns and sheds where machine guns were already in place. The SS men then began shooting. When the victims were unable to move, the SS covered them with fuel and set the barns on fire. In all, 190 French men died. The SS men next proceeded to the church and placed an incendiary device beside it. When it was ignited, women and children tried to escape through the doors and windows, only to be met with machine gun fire. 247 women and 205 children died in the attack. That night, the remaining village was razed to the ground. President Charles de Gaulle ordered that the ruins of the old village be maintained as a permanent memorial and museum. It was quite shocking to learn what happened to those people in the village during that day in June 1944. It makes you think of other people that are in similar war-torn countries and the suffering that they're experiencing. And it also makes me glad that we're not in that situation and that we're lucky to be in the position that we are. So we've left that lovely lake park up there. Keith and Lisa are heading back to the UK. They look like they've had an amazing trip out all the way down to Portugal and back. A very similar route to what we're going to be doing ourselves, covering some similar ground. So it was great to swap ideas for park-ups and places to visit with those guys. It's always nice to meet people, new people and familiar faces when you're travelling, because all these locations are much nicer when they're shared with other people. We're currently heading further south through France. We're driving through the Bordeaux region at the moment, the famous wine region, and over the hills you can see vineyards in the distance. Obviously a lot of vineyards around this area. We're going to be driving pretty much all the way down to more or less to the border, just short of the border with Spain, right down to southern France. We picked out a campsite for tonight's park up because we've been out nearly a week now in the van. We stayed at that little fishing place for a couple of days because it was so beautiful there, and yeah, we could do with doing some laundry, bits and pieces like that, take advantage of the campsite facilities. Yeah, so today's just going to be chugging away at the mileage, get a little bit further down because we've got an itinerary that we want to get to Portugal by Friday, the coming Friday. So yeah, we want to plug away at a few miles today, but the sun's out, weather's glorious, and yeah, we've got these beautiful views of France as we drive down. Sadly, by the time we got down to the bottom of France, the weather had taken a turn for the worst. And when we pulled into the campsite, the heavens opened. So we parked the van up and then got ourselves some dinner. So, on tonight's menu, we have a Mattison's smoked sausage. Oh, they're my favourite, they are. Some more new potatoes, the rest of the Swede and Savoy cabbage, and a bit of gravy to go with it. We're sitting on this campsite on the French-Spanish border, and it's absolutely chucking it down outside. Oh, I can't wait to get to Portugal. We're in Spain!
Week today?
Yeah, week today. Yes, that's not too bad, is it? I mean, the longest trip we did was about 4 hours, which was yesterday.
Yeah.
So, yeah, not too bad. And what we'll do is we'll work out all the costs of how much it costs to get down to here, and then compare that to what it would cost on the ferry and time-wise. I know we've taken a bit longer, but we've seen some really nice places on the way down. So, yeah. What we'll do is we'll insert into the video here a little bit about the finances, and then we'll get back to us travelling through Spain. So on our trip down, we've been keeping all of our receipts and bills. I've got all the notes written down in my little red book here, and just to compare what it actually costs you to drive down through France and Spain to get to the same position. Now, when we looked at ferry crossings from Plymouth to Santander in September when we were coming out, the price of the ticket for one way was over £600. There were no cabins available, so that was a reclining seat only for 2 people plus our camper van. If you were to go right now, I've just checked, and the prices for the beginning of November are still about £500. And again, that's just for the motorhome, 2 people and a reclining seat, no cabin. The crossing takes 33 hours, so you're on the boat overnight. You basically get on one day, you have to sleep in a reclining chair, and then you get off the ferry at 8 o'clock the following morning. So it's quite a long trip. Now let's compare that with what it would be to drive down. If you was to do it in a single journey, the distance from Calais to Santander is a little bit over 800 miles. The average fuel price that we've been paying over here is slightly cheaper than what it is in the UK at the moment. Average cost is about €165 per litre. So our van does roughly about 28-30 miles to the gallon on a good run. So roughly speaking, you would be about €165 of fuel to cover those 800 miles, so about £150 in fuel. And then to actually drive that distance would be a minimum of about 12.5 hours. So it's actually considerably less time and considerably less money. Obviously there's probably some tolls involved in that. We actually spent £22 in total on toll roads driving down through France. So you're still well under sort of £170 in fuel and tolls, and something, you know, probably 12 or 13 hours of driving compared to £500 to £600 on the ferry and 33 hours. So it's definitely possible to do it cheaper and quicker by driving than it is going on the ferry. So that's one thing to consider. Now, of course, we didn't go straight the way down to Spain. We drove around and we've done lots of trips and seen lots of sights and things like that. We've probably done a lot more mileage than you would do if you drove straight down. But even doing what we've done, spending a week in France and a few days in Spain and travelling that same distance, we've still only spent £250 on fuel. We've spent the same amount on tolls, £22 or €22, so £20 roughly. And then obviously with food and things like that on top, we're still well under the £500. And we've spent a week touring around France and seen some amazing sights. So yeah, I think in future I still would fancy driving down, because you can always look and see something different that you haven't seen before and take a nice little leisurely drive down. Right, we're going to continue our journey. We're driving over the border. I think we're in Spain, northern Spain now, and we're going to meet up with some really good friends of ours, Martin and Debs. And if you'd have seen our previous videos when we were stuck in Portugal during lockdown, they were the guys that we would travel back to the UK with. Really good friends of ours, and we haven't seen them since that time. A couple of years has gone past, so it'd be really great to touch base with them as well. And that's going to be the start of our next video. We're going to drive through northern Spain, high up into the mountains, meet up with some old friends, Martin and Debs. Yeah, and I hope you've enjoyed this video series so far, and that you'll continue to watch. If you have liked it, please give me a thumbs up, and do consider subscribing to the channel. It doesn't cost anything, and it's a great way to say thanks. See you in the next video, guys. Cheers.
When we wake, hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side our fears are done. Oh, the good times just begun. Oh, we know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future is bright.